Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome to the French Seams. Thanks very much for joining me for this week's Friday Sews video where I talk about what I have been sewing, what I will be sewing and a little bit of life as well. So as always, a huge thank you to Jen from Today and Jen Sewing Room for coming up with that wonderful hashtag. So if you're new to my channel, you're very, very welcome. I do hope you stick around, and if you're a regular viewer or subscriber, then welcome back. A massive thank you to everybody who watched my Friday Sews video last week, and also a huge thank you to everybody who watched my Sew April Blouse inspiration video that came out this week. So I'll link that up here and down below as always. And at the end of this vlog, I will show you my 2 April blouses, so you get the inspiration and the reveal 2 days apart, which is great. I absolutely love that challenge, and I loved seeing all the April blouses popping up on Instagram over the past month. And a massive thank you to Tamlin, Sewn on the Tyne and Gabrielle from The Cloth Edit for hosting another fabulous challenge this year. It's really, really great. I always get such inspiration seeing these beautiful blouses. So I hope you've all had a lovely week. We had a very nice Easter weekend. The weather was not great, but we made the most of it. We travelled down to stay with family, which was really nice. So it was a whirlwind of last week because we got back from Paris. More on that on another vlog. And then we did a quick turnaround and headed down to stay with family for the long weekend, which was really, really nice. The boys absolutely loved it. They were spoiled rotten as usual. And of course we had a lot of chocolate, which was just wonderful. You might see a little addition to my sewing room, this little guy here. So I got to see my lovely sister again, which was just lovely, and she gave me this little hot cross bun teddy, which is adorable. So if you're not familiar with hot cross buns, they're a kind of a doughy bun that we have at Easter with a cross on the top, and they're usually filled with currants and raisins and mixed peel and spices, and they are just delicious. I absolutely love them. So you might see this little guy now in the background on most of my vlogs because he's too cute to put away with all the Easter decorations. So that was really, really nice. What else did we do? So we actually went to a Lego brick con, which I'd never been to before. So it's kind of a Lego convention or brick convention, which is really good fun because, as I've probably mentioned here before, my boys absolutely love Lego and love building. So it was set up in this huge big warehouse, absolutely enormous. There was Lego everywhere. We got to meet a real live Lego person, so I'll pop in a picture here. Baby French Seams got to do some Lego colouring. Older French Seams got to do some Lego mosaics, I think. There was kind of a big board that you could write your name in Lego. There was just little stations everywhere that you could just build whatever you like. There was a speed building competition, which Older French Seams loved. He was really, really good at that. And of course there was face painting. My boys will go anywhere if there's face painting. I hope somebody else can relate as well. They absolutely love it. So we had a lovely fun time with that. It was really, really nice. That was good fun. I brought my mum to a wool shop. So I say I dragged her. She came completely willingly. She used to knit back in the day. She's absolutely excellent at it, and I think she's going to start again, which is wonderful. So if you're not familiar, I've fallen down the knitting rabbit hole hugely over the past few months. So it's called Olga's Own Craft Studio, and it's a beautiful, beautiful shop. So I'll pop in a few pictures here. She was very kind letting me film in her shop. Really, really pretty balls of wool, all kinds of notions, just every single thing you could want is absolutely beautiful. The colours in there are just gorgeous, and I got to spend some time chatting to Olga, and she's so nice and so unbelievably knowledgeable, and she had the most beautiful kind of spring display in the window. Absolutely gorgeous. So of course I had to, oops, apologies, buy a few little things. So I bought some twinkle wool because, you know, I love anything sparkly. So it's got a little glitter through this. I love using this at Christmas time, obviously. I did buy a really cool ball of, I think it's opal wool, and it's a whole range inspired by Van Gogh painting. So it's all those colours. So I'll pop in a picture of the ball of wool that I bought, and I have cast on already. You might be shocked to hear. The other thing I bought, she popped in a pack of love hearts, which I love. I picked up this stuff, which is really, really cool. So that's going to fall over. I'm going to sneeze. Apologies, hopefully I edited that out. So this is called, it's from the Knitting Barber, and it comes in a little tin like this. I was totally unfamiliar with this stuff, but it's really cool for my knitting journey. And I got it in green because, as you know, green is my favorite color. And it basically is this kind of plasticky kind of string. So you get 3 in a pack. You get 1 long one, 2 short ones, and it's for, say, if you're knitting jumpers. So then if you want to try on your jumper, you then thread these through where you are, and you can try on the jumper properly without trying it on with needles on it, which I thought was really, really cool. So you could use it with socks, you could use it with jumpers, but I just think, so it's ever so slightly stretchy, and you get 2 small ones for the sleeves and 1 big one for the jumper, which, so I thought that was really, really cool because I have notions of knitting a jumper sometime soon, but I thought that was really, really cute. Again, she was so knowledgeable. It was absolutely fabulous. I will go on to a very quick knitting update. So I have finished my Christmas socks. Here they are. They're not blocked or anything. I think I finally got the hang of this stretchy bind off. It's stretchier than it was anyway. So I've actually done them both 3 times. But yes, I think we're there. So these are pretty much done. I'm just going to give them a nice kind of block on the ironing board and make them look all pretty, but these are pretty much done. These are the trusty toe-up socks. I'll link them below. They're from Ravelry. It's a free pattern. It's really, really nice. So I'm delighted with those. So of course I had to cast on straight away after I got back after Easter. And I'm now working on Brenda's Basic Toe-Up Sock. Again, it's a free pattern from Ravelry. To give you a bit of background, the trusty toe-up socks uses the Judy's Magic cast on, so does this one, but for the increases it uses knit front and back, whereas this one uses make one left and make one right, which I've just been googling, which I think gives a really nice finish. That's slightly different, and it's got a kind of a ribbed detail on the instep, so it's 3 knit 1 purl, which I think gives a very nice, you can probably see it better on the back of it actually, but I've literally just got this far. So this is my 2 toes, but you can see here that this is the wool inspired by one of Van Gogh's paintings. Put the name of it here below, totally forgotten it. So it's really, really nice blues and yellows. I think it's really pretty, so I'm really enjoying doing this, which is lovely. So yes, definitely fallen down that rabbit hole. Oh yeah, and they both have the wrap and turn heel, which I did like doing the last time, the short row heel, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, it's just ever so slightly different, so I'm enjoying that. So I will definitely be going back to her lovely shop later on. Absolutely gorgeous. What else did I get up to? So that was my week. I did meet up with my lovely friend Anna. She's Missy Moselle over on Instagram. We went for a lovely lunch, and I will also see her on Sunday. So I'll be popping up to the Crafty studio on Sunday because we're doing more of Alfredo's memory quilt, which I think I mentioned a number of weeks ago now at this stage, that we're making a quilt in memory of a sewist we lost late last year. So I'll be spending the day doing a quilt up with some lovely, lovely sewists. So I look forward to doing that. And if you are interested in coming to that, if you're local to Dublin or not so local, please drop me a message below or message Anna over on Instagram. I'll pop in her details below, so thank you very much. What else can I talk to you about? I've been doing some sewing. So I took part in the Studio 77 Boxy Pouch challenge this week, which was really good fun. I couldn't join any of the lives, but I kind of caught up on them. So I'll pop in, oops, dropping my blouse. I'll pop in a picture of the Boxy Pouch poster here, and I shall show you mine. And here it is. So this fabric is the beautiful fabric that the very lovely Rita sent over recently, and I just thought it was just perfect for a boxy pouch. So it's the tape measures. It's perfect because it's, well, it's really striking fabric for one thing, but it's non-directional, so you can use that for the outer. I've got a Bloomin' Beautiful label here. That's from I think that's from Studio 77 as well, actually. Yes, I think it is. And then I have a gold zip, that's from the Crafty Studio, and a zip pull from Studio 77. Got those at the Stitch Festival. And then it's lined with a little fat quarter, beautiful green with leaves. This is a really, really cool pattern. So it's a really, I'd never done this construction of a boxy pouch before, with the line across the back where you fold it in. It's all nicely enclosed in the inside. It's really, really nice pattern. I love following along with it. So I used bag foam, which makes it quite sturdy, and I did kind of run into difficulty because it was so sturdy in boxing at the corners. She does recommend fuse wool fleece. I can understand why, and I have now purchased some fuse wool fleece to make another one because I think it's a really, really cute pattern, and I think I'm going to keep my knitting in it. Isn't it just lovely? So I really enjoyed following along with that. I did it last year as well. Let me see my bag down here. Oh, here it is. This is the one that I made. That's the other blouse. This is one I made last year with her sew along, which I love as well. It's a little tote bag. So I'm glad now I'm 2 for 2 with her little boxy pouch, which I love. So I'll link all the details of that below. I think you now she can buy the pattern. It's really, really cute. So what other sewing have I been doing? You might notice what I'm wearing. This is the Tilly and the Buttons Bertha cardigan that I made in this beautiful French terry that I got from Bornella Fabrics at the Stitch Festival. I bought a metre because I thought it was cotton jersey, but then I realised it's French terry. So I then wanted to make a cardigan, and I had a metre, so I didn't have quite enough. So I accented it, if that's a word, with this beautiful pink French terry from Crafty Studio, and they don't match, but I think they tone well together. So I just use that on the band and the cuffs. Out of a metre, I was able to get front, back and sleeves out of this. I couldn't add length to the front and back. I just didn't have enough fabric. The sleeves, I'm so silly. I always make a size 4, grade into a size 5 into these patterns, adding 1.5 inches to the sleeves. always. So for this, even though I probably had enough fabric left, I looked at the sleeve pattern piece, because it's a huge big raglan sleeve, held it up against me and said, oh yeah, that'll be fine, just cut out a straight sleeve. It is not fine. I definitely needed that extra 1.5 inches. So what I've done is I've gone down the seam allowance here to 1/4 inch, and it's bought me a little bit, but it's not terribly oversized, I think, the way it's meant to be, but I absolutely love it. It's such a beautiful, bright cardigan. I absolutely love it. So if I stand up, you can see I'm just wearing it with a t-shirt. So I've got my Bornella Fabrics label here that I got in the little vending machine thing at the Stitch Festival. So cool. So you can see this is the pink, then I got on the waistband here and on the cuffs, and you can see the sleeves are okay, but I think it's meant to be a little bit more oversized. But yeah, I really, really like it. I would definitely make the Bertha pattern again. I have the book. I didn't trace the pattern from the book because I just used baking paper, and then it's never wide enough for raglan sleeves. So I actually was able to go online, and if you have the book, you can log in and actually print off those patterns from the book as PDF, which is great. So I just printed off the PDF and stuck it together, so it didn't take long at all. So yeah, I really, really like it, and it whizzed up in no time. So that was a really nice make, and this is another make done from Stitch Festival, and of course I had to match the fabric and the label both from Bornella, so really, really cute. But yeah, just crossing myself really. I need that extra length in sleeves for sure. But anyway, moving on, that was what I got up to this week. Another thing that I did this week, completely influenced by something I saw on Instagram. I'll pop in a picture here. There's a summer sew along. I think it's by Sridhar. Somebody correct me on the pronunciation. It's basically a crochet along a summer blanket, and it popped up my Instagram feed, and I said, that is really, really cute. So it's a huge big blanket. It's actually quite big, of all different fruit applique and pom-poms and all different colors and everything, and I was just so taken by it. So I put up on Instagram saying, do I need this? So many people came back and said, yes you do. So about 10 minutes later I was like, bye. So I was able to buy the kit in Vibes and Scribes, which is a wool haberdashery fabric, all kinds of stuff, shop down in Cork, and they were doing the bundle. So I think you get 15 balls of wool, and I think you get a label, and I added on the crochet hook because I wasn't quite sure if I had the size, and I think that came to €46 or something for the whole big kit. But so for 15 balls of wool, I thought that was pretty good going. And then you get a sew along, a weekly sew along, and that starts on May the 7th. So watch this space. I'm not a fabulous crocheter. I can just about do a granny square, but I was really, really taken by this, and a few people have now mentioned to me that they have now bought it, and we're going to. So if you have bought it, let me know. I'll make a little, I wonder, can I do a little Instagram group or something where we can share our progress and help each other out? I think it'd be really, really fun to get that done. So let me know. So that was my crochet. So I'm going to be very, very busy over the summer. So perhaps I'll stop my winter knitting socks for the summer and do a blanket instead. Although I love doing both. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. So that is all I want to talk to you about the week. So you can see it was a very, very lovely week. It was a very, very busy week as always. Shall I talk about my April blouses? And both of them have fallen on the floor. So my first blouse that I want to talk about is this one. This is the Experimental Space Evelyn Blouse, which is a new to me pattern company. I basically just went on the fold line and just had a look through their blouses and found this and said, ooh, that looks nice. The fabric is a beautiful crinkle viscose from Rainbow Fabrics. So I'm a brand ambassador for Rainbow Fabrics. I'll pop in my code here, Rachel !VIP. Ordinarily gets you 20% off site wide. Today's Friday. If you're very, very quick, before 6 p.m. today, if you use Rachel !VIP, you are getting 40% off this week anyway because of their sale. But ending today, if you also add in the code extra5, which I'll pop across here, you get an extra 5%. So it's going to be 45% off until 6 p.m. today. So run, don't walk would be my advice. So anyway, so this is my Evelyn blouse. So, and I think this fabric suits it really well. It is a crinkle viscose, so I did iron it so it's not too crinkledy, because when it comes out of the wash, it's about 4 sizes too small. But then when you iron it, it's absolutely fine. So speaking of sizing, I made a size Cara grading to a Faye. So it is my girls' names. So according to my measurements, I fit in a Cara for the bust and then a Faye for the hips, which is a difference of 4 sizes, which is, I usually have to do 3, but 4 I thought was quite a big range, but I did need it, so I'm quite glad. So it is quite true to size. I did, however, remove 2 inches from the length. I found it came up quite long. But speaking of the length, I added the cutest Cozy Club handmade label. It says Hello Summer, and then that's a little strawberry, and then on the back it said made for sunny days, because I thought that was really cute. I thought this definitely has a summery vibe, this blouse. So I really, really liked making it. I was interested in how the kind of placket goes at the front, you can see how that's different. You could do that in a contrast to be very nice. Basically, it's a facing that you kind of flip the other way and then top stitch down. So I think it just gives a nice little detail. It's quite low. I do have to wear a cami top underneath it. It's quite low. The color instructions are really, really good. I think that's the nicest color I've ever put in. Yeah, I've said it. The issue I had was with the sleeve. So it's got this very, very pretty V detail here. So if I pop in a picture of me wearing the blouse, and then I'll pop in a picture here of the sleeve, which is really, really pretty. It's got this beautiful V cutout detail. However, the cara at the bust was fine for me. However, the shoulder seams it was too small on the shoulder here. So it actually should be much, much wider. It has a 5/8 seam allowance. So what I did was I reduced that to 1/4 inch, and that bought me a little bit of extra room. The sleeve is lined, which is very, very nice. They do have you sew one side of the sleeve and then fold under and tuck it under and top stitch. I just overlocked the two together, far easier. So that was how I got over that. However, the little V cutout here, and please let me know if you've made this and if I've done something totally wrong. This is a much altered version. So this is the pattern piece here of the sleeve. So this is the fold line, and then you've got this tiny little cutout here. However, if you do your seam allowance here to add the sleeve and the lining together, and they say measure up 3 inches from the top of the V, so you end up here. So you've got your V all the way down here, and then this is your seam allowance up here. So you only have that much of sleeve at the top, which I found was way too high. So what I did was I reduced the seam allowance to 1/4 inch here, and then I only went 2 inches above it and just reduced the seam allowance here, and I think it gives a much tidier V. So let me know if anybody else had that issue. So it just gives, otherwise the V was literally starting right here at the top, and it range of movement, everything, it just didn't work for me. So I'm very happy with how it looks now, and overall I really, really like it. So I probably would make one again. I would be very keen to do one with maybe a little contrast placket here. I think would look really, really nice. But anyway, this is my Evelyn blouse, and I always love finding new pattern designers. I really, really enjoy it. So I think that was all I wanted to talk about on that. Yes, it was indeed. But yeah, really, really pretty pattern. It does have kind of a slightly swoop to the hem as well, which is quite pretty. So yeah, overall, very, very nice blouse. So that was my Evelyn blouse. And then the other one, which has fallen on the floor, I love. So I have had this pattern since April 2017 when I bought it. I think when it first came out, and I loved the look of it, bought it, I never made it. And then fast forward, what are we, 8 years, and I saw the very lovely Maz. She's Maz on Makes over on Instagram. I'll link her below. She put up that she had made a Anderson blouse, and I said, that is just beautiful. So I was like, I have that pattern, it's time to make it. And then of course enter my lovely friend Sam, Sola Sparkle, who gave me this beautiful fabric, and the two of them are just perfect together. They really, really are. So this is my Anderson blouse, and it is an oldie but a goodie. And actually a few people have mentioned to me after I posted this on Instagram yesterday that they had this pattern, that they bought it years and years ago, they never made it, or they totally forgotten about this pattern. So yeah, really, really happy I finally got it made up, and I am going to make many, many more of these. So it is, I made a size 12, which is slightly smaller than my waist and hips, but I looked at the finished garment measurements, I thought it would be fine, and I'm glad I did that. I didn't add any extra length to the bodice. I did initially add an extra inch to the sleeve. I took it out, I didn't feel I needed it. It's got a nice little cuff at the bottom. It does have instructions for a little button and a buttonhole. I didn't feel I needed it at the bottom, it's absolutely fine. It's got a nice little placket in here. The construction of that is quite nice. They do have you hand sew this cuff in, which I did do. So you attach it, then fold it under, and then hand sew it on the inside, which I did do. They do have you hand sew the binding on the back. I didn't do that because there's nothing to grab on the other side, so I just machine stitched that with coordinating thread, which I think looks fine on the back. This is a beautiful construction. You've got this little gathering here on the shoulders, which really, really nice. And then you've got this kind of built-in facing that just folds in on the inside, just overlocks and then fold in, which is beautiful. It is quite gapey. I do need to wear a top underneath it, and I'm going to hand stitch a little stitch here just to make sure it doesn't flap open, but absolutely love it. The only thing is, oh yes, I added a lovely little label, little rosy cheeks, freshly made. Really, really like that. The one thing I will say about this pattern is the instructions are only okay. There are picture instructions, and they're using a beautiful blue fabric, which is the same front and back, and they're using a blue thread. So it's utterly impossible to see what they're doing. So it would be lovely if the front wasn't the same as the back, and maybe what some pattern companies do is that they add like a bright yellow dotted line as to where you're meant to stitch, because that would have been really useful, say, in the little gathering bit here, but it's not a big deal. The only other thing as well is that the casing for the bottom, so it's just, I think they ask you to put a ribbon in the bottom, but I put elastic. I think I prefer how that looks. The casing at the bottom is literally just you overlock the hem, turn it up, and then start and stop stitching with a little kind of maybe inch gap in it, and that's where you thread through your elastic. So I just have a really grotty piece of elastic in it, but that's basically just flapped up. There's no kind of proper channel for it. So if I was doing it again, what I might do is I'd do it at the seam and finish the raw edges of both sides and then fold it under so you have a proper kind of gap, because now you just have this kind of bit that's flapping up. So that's a minor thing as well. But overall, I absolutely love this blouse, and I will make many more. It's a little bit fabric hungry just because the front bodice pieces are quite large, and of course you have to cut them on the bias, but it's just really pretty. So what else can I say about that? Yeah, I left off the buttons, and yeah, that was it. And I think sizing wise absolutely perfect as well. So I loved wearing this. I think it's really smart. I think the colours are fabulous. You can see the whole pink and green thing. So massive thank you to Sam, and massive thank you to Maz as well. So I absolutely love this. So they were my Sew April blouse makes. So I think that's about everything I need to talk to you about today. So hopefully it wasn't a too long video. Do I have plans for this week? Yes, I do. I've got a couple of collaborations I need to start, and then I also want to get my pajamas made up. So I think I showed this last week. I've got this beautiful Indian block print fabric with little elephants on it from Rainbow Fabrics, and I've just reprinted I should say, the assembly line free pajama patterns. I just cut them in a slightly bigger size. I think I'm going to do a large on the top and extra large on the bottom. It's a shorts pajama pattern, little grown on sleeve t-shirt and a pair of shorts, but I think I have 3 meters of this, so I'm going to try and make the shorts as long as possible, trousers hopefully, but watch this space. So this is my plan for this week. So thank you very much for joining me as always. If you have any questions on anything I've spoken about today, please leave me a comment in the comment box below. I love having the chats. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you all have time for some lovely sewing. If you like this video, I'd very much love it if you would give me a thumbs up and hopefully consider subscribing. And I will talk to you all again very soon in another video. Take care everyone.